Baker here with a weekend video, or a video ready for the weekend. It's Friday and you may be planning to do some clutter clearing this weekend. So I just wanted to share a couple of top tips with you and share with you some of the feedback, the comments that I've had with the videos that I've been sharing over the last couple of weeks. Because I hope that what other people are saying, not just me, will help with your motivation, with your inspiration, just knowing that it is possible to succeed, even though you may not be able to see the end in sight as you start or indeed continue your clutter clearing journey. But it really does make a difference, I think, when we share our experiences and know that we're not alone. I know that the comments that I've received have definitely boosted my confidence to keep going with my weight loss clutter clearing journey, because it can feel like a lonely one. It can feel as if, oh gosh, I'm still overwhelmed with just how much there still is to do. Yes, I may have come over halfway, but wow, there's still quite a way to go. And so, you know, the comments do make a huge difference, so thank you. And I'm sure that they make a difference for those of you who are watching and at the beginning of your clutter clearing journey. Okay, so let's start. I've picked out the ones, I picked out a handful of them because I can't possibly share all of them, otherwise this video would be hours long. So I've picked out a few that I hope will be particularly useful for you. Okay, so Chris left a message. Hi, Chris. She said, "Hi, Claire. After a long period of procrastination, I think I'm finally ready to tackle the clutter in my home." Yes, brilliant. "I've started, but I am in the reorganising stage. I bought your ebooks ages ago, so I think I need to revisit them to get the method right. I'm glad you are there because you really understand in a way that no one around me does. Thank you. P.S. Funnily enough, I've been tackling my weight since February. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there." Snap, Chris. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. We're doing the doing. That's what makes the difference. Actions speak louder than words, so that's fantastic. And it's okay to have had a long period of procrastination. You will eventually reach your true turning point. There is an article on the website in the Did You Know section, which is called Have You Reached Your True Turning Point? And it explains what that actually is. So it sounds like you have reached that point, which is fantastic. I reached that point with my weight clutter clearing journey, wanting to start it this time last year. So great, you just need to turn it into action. You say about the method and that you've already bought the ebooks. Have a look in your emails over the weekend, because I'm planning to record a video over the weekend which will have something that will be really useful for you to turn the theory of the ebooks, of the clutter clearing process, into practice. Okay, that will take place the week after next. So keep an eye out this weekend for an email from me with a link to another video which might just have something that helps with that. Okay, I shall say no more. Okay, Mary S. Hello, Mary. Thank you for sharing. Mary says, "Amazed to have just listened to your 3 videos back to back. I was very low in mood after Christmas. My mother had died in August 2015. Sorry to hear that. And I had gradually ground to a halt. I've suffered from depression for several years, overthinking things and tying myself in knots. I've also been overweight for many years. I saw my doctor and asked if I could have some talking therapy. I wanted to be able to break the cycles of low mood and to be able to follow a plan, especially a healthy eating plan. My way of trying to deal with these issues was to make elaborate plans, colour pencils and grids, etc., and then never seeing them through. It seemed to be forever before I got my first appointment, but I had my sessions with a super therapist I liked straight away, and over several weeks. I now have strategies and tools to help. It's early days yet." I have been a member of Slimming World on and off for a few years. I have some very supportive friends there and believe their method is fine for me. Doing the doing is where I seem to be missing out, with a reference to your last video. I have been increasing some physical activity in general, as I have identified that as a help to improve my mood and of course to help my weight issues. Unlike you, I still have clutter clearing to be tackled in my home, but I'm being kind to myself, not taking on too much at a time in that area and trying to make my goals small, measurable, achievable, etc. I wish you the very best, Claire, and hope to hear more about how you're progressing. Well, that's fantastic news, Mary. It sounds like you've actually been on a very similar journey to me. You like me, went to the doctor to ask for help. Thankfully, your doctor sounds like they were a little bit more understanding than my doctor. You've got your method with the weight clutter with the Slimming World. Ultimately, we need to just find something that works for us. So that's fantastic that you've got that. And now is the time to be working on the clutter that is in your home. And you're absolutely spot on. You've got it absolutely right. You're saying you're being kind to yourself, not taking on too much at a time. And you know what? That's going to succeed, because just like with the clutter clearing process, we only ever do a maximum of three 3-hour clutter clearing sessions a week, with at least 24 hours rest in between. Because it is much, much more mentally tiring than we think. When you're doing your clutter clearing right, you are making decisions. And decision making is tiring, especially when we're looking at things that we may not have seen and don't remember for years. So again, you are doing absolutely the right things here. So well done, Mary. It's lovely. It's lovely to hear a very, very similar story to mine. You mentioned at the end, hope to hear more about how you're progressing. A new website, or the website is being updated and will go live next Tuesday, 1st of November. And on there, I've actually put a section which is called Claire's Clutter Clearing Journey. And on there, each week, I'm going to either record a video or write like a diary entry of how my last week has been. Because if there's one thing I've learnt on my journey, we have good weeks, we have bad weeks. Not bad weeks, bad is not the right word, tough weeks. There's no such thing as a bad week as long as you've got that feedback and you adjust and tweak what you're doing based on that feedback. So yes, I shall rephrase that. There will inevitably good weeks and there will inevitably be tough weeks. Tough weeks are where we get the learning. So I'm going to, now that I'm past the halfway mark, I feel that I'm in a place where I can share that. As I mentioned in my previous video, I didn't really tell anybody what I was doing. Obviously they noticed the physical changes, but it's only in the last couple of months that I've actually said, yes, this is what I'm doing and this is how much I've lost so far. So don't worry, you will be able to find out how I am progressing with my clutter clearing journey. I hope you will share how you are getting on with your clutter clearing journey. Catherine left a message. Hello, Catherine. Catherine, she said, hi Claire, it's so nice to see you back. Thank you. I have not been in touch for all this time, but I have been following you from a distance. I have the most wonderful memories from my declutter day when I was living in London. Remember, I am the French lady with the red silky bed sheets. People are probably thinking, what? That was Catherine's reward. The clutter clearing process is a rewards-based system. And don't worry, she wasn't just accumulating new silky bed sheets. She had let go of a huge volume of clutter, things that she didn't need, wasn't going to use, and she succeeded. We had a very productive day, and hopefully Catherine felt the benefits for a long time to come. So lovely. Thank you for sharing that, Catherine. Somebody calling themselves Inspiration has said on the last video with the 3 success factors, has said, it's the doing, always the doing. Thanks for looking at this. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, actions speak louder than words, and it's the action that we have difficulty with, isn't it? That's part of the reason why when it came to my garden this summer, I decided to kind of not ramp up the amount of clutter clearing work that I was doing, because I knew that the garden was going to take me time and was going to require a lot of action, and that it wasn't going to be things that I could do in just an hour or just 2 hours. So that's why the action took priority for the garden. In fact, doing a bit more this weekend, getting my vegetable beds sorted. My husband's finishing off the path in the garden, very excited. The cats, of course, think that the veg beds are just a big cat litter tray for them. So we're going to have an awful lot of manure on those veg beds by the time I plant anything out next year. But it is exciting, and again, it is the action that makes the difference. So thank you for that inspiration. Brenda P has said, thank you for the time you take to make these videos. You're very welcome. I feel I was lucky to find clutter clearing and enjoy each and every one. My congratulations to you for the successful weight loss. I am certain many of your viewers share your issues on this journey. Again, thank you. You are a great inspiration to me. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Yes, and that's one of the lovely things that has come from recording these videos and sharing my story thus far, is finding out that I am not alone, and that a lot of you do share these challenges on your journey, whether it be a physical clutter, weight clutter, or whether it be physical clutter in your home. Talking about it makes such a difference. Really, really does. Dunphy family, I apologise if I've mispronounced that. Now she's left a comment on the YouTube channel, and she said, I'm so glad I have found your channel. I have been watching your videos and identify with so many of the triggers, impulses, feelings, and it really helps to know that I am not alone and that there are strategies I can put in place. Thank you. Again, you're very welcome. Let's talk about it. Let's not hide from this anymore. You know, we do. You're absolutely right. We all identify, I think, with triggers, impulses, feelings, and knowing that you're normal does make a huge difference. Doesn't mean we can sit back and do nothing about it, but knowing that it's not just us. Clutter is such a hidden challenge, because we can choose not to invite people into our homes so that they don't see it. Many of my clients over the years, you would not know, if you met them on the street, you would have no idea that they have a clutter challenge, because many of them are immaculately dressed, you know, have no outward signs, if you like, that they have a clutter challenge. You don't have to be immaculately dressed to have a clutter challenge. But because we can easily stop people seeing the fact that we have a clutter challenge in our home, because we just don't invite them into our home, it can become a very lonely place, and it can be very isolating when we have a clutter challenge. And that fear factor, that shame attached to the fact that, hey, there's a part of my life that is out of control and I don't know how to deal with it. So few people actually do say, you know what, I can't deal with this on my own. I need some help. And I have huge respect for anybody who actually says, you know what, Claire, I can't do this on my own. I need your help. Can you come and help me? And because there needs to be this acknowledgement that actually knowing how to clear your clutter and stay organised and stay clutter-free is a skill. It's a skill that you could learn, just like learning to drive. Not everybody can drive a car, but there's not the shame attached to that, is there? Yet, not having the skill of being able to clear your clutter, make decisions, and stay organised, that's a skill that for some reason we have a shame attached to, especially us women. There is almost this expectation that we should know how to deal with it. We should be born with this gene that means that we can deal with it. And, you know, well, you're a woman, you should be able to... Oh, it makes me so annoyed when I hear people who do sort of say that, well, you know, I should be able to do this, or my wife should be able to deal with the clutter because she's a woman. They may not say that, but that's what implied. And you know what? It's not. It's just a skill that we need to learn. And you can learn it, and I'll teach it to you, and it's okay. And then you'll become clutter free, and like me, you will go on with life, and nobody will ever know that you had this this challenge. And we move on with life, and we forget that we ever had the issue. That's my dream, that everybody can just move on with their lives and never have to, you know, have this hanging over them anymore. Okay, where were we? So we were up to, that was the Dunphy family. Apologies if I've mispronounced that. And then finally, we've got Emily. Emily said, this makes so much sense to me. I've procrastinated for years, made lists and drawn diagrams for how I want my home to be. I've cut pictures out of magazines, but never did any physical, as you call it. The thing that's missing for me is the physical. That's the success factors, the circles. And I always get disheartened when I don't get it all done in a day. So give up. So now I realise, thanks to you, that I need to give myself more time. Yes, yes. So how much time do you think I should give myself? Really good question, Emily. Glad you asked that. I'm sure other people were kind of wondering the same. Now, there's two issues with that, with the time. How much time should we spend doing a clutter clearing session, working on our clutter, and how much time should we allow for our clutter clearing journey? Okay, so when you're doing a clutter clearing session using the clutter clearing process, I recommend that you do no more than 3 hours in one go. So when I work with my clients privately on the telephone or via Skype, or indeed in their home, we never do more than 3 hours because we need to give our time, our brain, time to rest. It's done a lot of decision making, and if we're not used to making decisions about things that we haven't seen for a long time, then it's gonna poop us out. Can't think of a different phrase. It's gonna wear us out a bit. So no more than 3 hours when you do a clutter clearing session following the clutter clearing process. Okay. Now, at a maximum, you do 1 3-hour clutter clearing session each day. Leave a sleep in between. So when you finished your first clutter clearing session, have a sleep, as in overnight, and then do another clutter clearing session the next day at the maximum. But I would recommend that you leave a day in between. So let's say you do a clutter clearing session on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay? Because there's going to be plenty of things probably on your to-do list as a result of your clutter clearing session. You can get on with those the following day and then do another clutter clearing session the day after that. Okay? So there are several things we kind of need to juggle as we're doing our clutter clearing session. I would also recommend that you make sure that you have a reward fixed, if you like, for after your clutter clearing session. And ideally that's something that will get you out of the home. The fresh air, the change of pace, the change of focus will help your brain as it's settling and making those decisions. Your subconscious brain will keep going after you've finished your conscious clutter clearing session. Okay, so good rewards might be taking the dog for a walk or a different walk, meeting a friend for coffee, going out for dinner if you can, or going to the cinema. Anything that gets you out of the home is a good thing. One of my favourite rewards when I've been doing something that requires quite a lot of brain power is just to go and sit by my pond for 15 minutes. Now that I have the kittens, or the munchkins as I like to call them, they will follow me out there. I feel like the Pied Piper of Hamelin, but they will come and follow me out. I sit on a bench that we've made where I can just watch the pond, listen to the fountain, see the birds, and 15 minutes of that feels like heaven. Feels like more than 15 minutes. That's my favourite reward. It's a change of scene because I'm sitting by the pond. It's a change of temperature actually because I'm outside. It's a change of smells. It's just a complete change, get away from what I was doing, what I was concentrating on. So I really strongly encourage you to do that. In terms of your clutter clearing journey, how much time should you allow for your clutter clearing journey to go from cluttered to clutter free? Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? I would say that the factors that are going to affect that are how many clutter clearing sessions you do each week, how frequently you do them, because if you only do one clutter clearing session a week, it's going to take your brain longer to get used to this new way of dealing with it. It's like starting again. If you leave it for more than 2 days, your brain will forget. So that's again why I encourage people to do at least 2 clutter clearing sessions a week using the clutter clearing process, so that you can start to build up some momentum with your clutter clearing. How many weeks that's likely to last will depend on how much clutter you've got to start with, how many rooms you've got them in, whether they're big and bulky items or whether it's paperwork, which is small in volume, large in quantity. A small pile of paperwork will take you a lot longer to go through than if you've got a room full of cardboard boxes with nothing in them. So again, it's there's so many factors that go into it. But if you start your clutter clearing journey, you are always going to be closer to the end, but just by doing the actioning that quite a few of the comments mentioned. It's the actioning that is going to make the difference. When I started my weight clutter clearing journey a year ago, I had no concept or expectation about how long it would take. When I started my weight loss clutter clearing journey, I said to myself, right, I know I'm going to need to make 1 hour a week for my counselling. Allowing for the time to get there and to come back afterwards. That's actually 2 hours a week that I allow for my clutter clearing counselling or support in terms of the success factors. I had a suspicion that I was going to need to make some time for some physical exercise, and I now make, well, we leave the house and by the time we come back it's 2 hours, so I allow 6 hours a week. So 2 hours on a Monday, 2 hours on a Wednesday, 2 hours on a Friday to go to the gym to do the physical exercise. So in total I'm allowing 8 hours a week to deal with, to work on, to do the doing with my weight clutter clearing journey. Ironically, that's exactly what we are ideally doing with our physical clutter clearing journey in our homes. So you will get the fastest results if you are doing a clutter clearing session 3 times a week. But I would strongly encourage you that if you are serious about wanting to clear your clutter for the last time, if you want to do this in a way that you can then stay completely clutter-free forever once you have cleared it, have in your mind that you are prepared to give yourself at least 3 months to clear the clutter. That's allowing for 6 hours a week of doing the doing in 2 3-hour sessions. Okay, does that make sense? But be open to the fact that it may take longer. I'm a year into my physical weight clutter clearing journey, and I feel that I am just starting to get to the root of the problem. Hitting a bit of a brick wall in terms of both practically and the weight isn't coming off quite like it was. And in terms of mentally, I know that there's some self-sabotage starting to kick in. But I am sufficiently far down the road that I am happy to give it the time that it needs, because the physical exercise that I do at the gym, that is just part of what I do now. On a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my husband and I go to the gym. We no longer watch the soaps, we go to the gym. And the 2 hours of counselling that I have each week, again, that's just what I do on a Wednesday in the morning. So again, be open to the fact that this may take some time. When I work with hoarders, I'm working with them on average for a year. So if we work backwards, how close do you think you are to becoming a hoarder? If a hoarder takes on average a year and they are doing 6 hours of clutter clearing every week plus 1 hour of counselling, because I will only work with hoarders if they are having parallel counselling with a therapist or counsellor, then work backwards from that, and that may give you an idea of how long and how much time you should allow for your clutter clearing journey. Okay, but I can guarantee that if you are determined to clear your clutter so that you never again have to deal with it, any time that you spend on it, whether it is a year clearing your clutter, it will be worth it, because that time that you spend now will be time for yourself to do with whatever you want to once you have cleared it. Okay, friends and family will just be used to the fact that on that day, at that time, you are not available because you are just simply not available. You don't need to tell them that you're doing your clutter clearing journey. But once you are not doing your clutter clearing, you can substitute that time that you set aside every week to do a new hobby, to do something enjoyable, to spend some time with yourself, to just do nothing. How lovely would that be? So again, we need to shift and change the way that we are approaching our clutter clearing journey, and we just need to be open to say, you know what, it could take a year, it will take as long as it needs to, because I'm doing it the right way this time and I'm getting a long-term permanent solution. Make sense? Sorry, that was quite a long-winded answer, Emily, but I hope that has helped. In a nutshell, the amount of time that you should allow for doing a clutter clearing session is a maximum of 3 hours. I would recommend that you set aside at least 2 3-hour slots each week to do your clutter clearing sessions so that you get the fastest results. And in terms of how long it will take you to clear all your clutter, that depends on your particular situation, but you need to be open to accepting that it may take several months to clear it, and that's okay. Okay, hope that helps. All right, I'm going to love you and leave you because it is Friday. It's I need to upload this and send this to you in time before the weekend. I'm off to enjoy the weekend. You might have noticed the haircut. That was my reward today because it is my 10th wedding anniversary on Sunday, and I'm being taken out for lunch. Yay! So I'm going to enjoy that. So I thought a new haircut, a new hairdo was in order. Enjoy yourself, whatever you are doing. And like I did say, do keep an eye out over the weekend, Monday, for an email from me, which will give you the opportunity to join me to do some doing the week after next. More about that in the next email that I send out. All right, have a lovely weekend. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And I will speak to you very soon. Take care.